Councillors? I would like to call this council meeting of September 19th, 2022 to order. And note for all of you who are in the audience or watching electronically that this is the final meeting of this council for the 2018 to 2022 term of office. I don't know where the last 4 years went, but they certainly flew by. The next item on the agenda is the national anthem. Before we stand for the national anthem, I will ask that you please remain standing after the anthem has been played to have a moment of silence to acknowledge the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Please rise.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command.
Car ton bras s'est porté l'épée, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits.
God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Madam Clerk, would you mark the time? Please be seated. As many of you know, the flags have been lowered at all Town of Lincoln facilities to mourn the passing of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and to pay tribute to her. Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II celebrated her Platinum Jubilee on June 2nd, 2022, commemorating a remarkable 70-year reign and making her longest ruling monarch in British history. On behalf of council and staff here at the Town of Lincoln, we offer our deepest condolences to the royal family and the people of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth who are grieving. Know that we are united in sharing your sorrow for this heartbreaking loss. For those of you, council members and staff, as well as citizens in the audience, the Book of Condolences has been moved to that corner, and if you wish, please sign it before you leave today. I would like to begin by reading a safety notice. In the event of an emergency, please evacuate council chambers to the nearest exit through the chamber doors and obey all instructions given, and if assistance is required, please see Madam Clerk, Julie Kirkelos. Once you have evacuated the building, please gather in the front parking lot outside of Town Hall. Also, please ensure that you place your cell phones on silent or turn them off at this time. And lastly, the Town of Lincoln Council meetings are posted on our YouTube channel. The Niagara region is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Attawandaronk, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The regional municipality of Niagara and the Town of Lincoln stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Acknowledgement is not a ritual statement, and we make every attempt to create relevancy and to state what that relevancy is when it is available to us and authentic. In 2021, the Canadian government declared September the 30th the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. As a step towards responding to the Truth and Reconciliation 94 calls to action. For everyone across the country and across all of Niagara, this is a time for all to reflect on the historic and current situation of Indigenous people across Canada. Next week, council and staff from the Town of Lincoln will be provided both learning and private reflection opportunities to fully understand the importance of the National Day for Truth and Reconciliation and the impacts that residential schools have had on Canadian Indigenous people. I encourage everyone to take the time to listen and learn next week. We'll be beginning the week with a flag raising here at Town Hall on Monday, September 26th. All members of council are in attendance both in person and remotely. We also have senior staff available remotely to speak to their area of expertise. Also in attendance, we have Regional Councillor Foster. Do members have any amendments to the order of the agenda? There being none, we move on to declarations of interest. I have a declaration of interest from Councillor Rinjima. Councillor Rinjima, would you please state your declaration of interest? Oh, sorry.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Madam Mayor, I have a declaration to declare in Agenda Item 17.13, Bylaw 2022-71, the bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln, Peter Thomas Bosma, and Barbara Lynn Bosma, as my employer has a pecuniary interest in the matter. And also, Madam Mayor, Agenda Item 17.12, Bylaw 2022-70, a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln, Prudham's General Partner, Inc., as my employer has a pecuniary interest. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Also, Councillor Brunet, if you would state your declaration. Yes. Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Brunet.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I will be declaring a reiteration of my declaration of interest from the Committee of the Whole meeting of September 14th. That evening, the report 7.2.1, the Niagara Benchlands Destination Development Fund allocation, as I have a member of our family who is an employee of one of the applicants of the fund. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Brunet. And also Councillor Reimer, a reiteration.
It is. Thank you, Mayor Eason. From the Committee of the Whole meeting September 14th, item 7.2.1, Niagara Benchlands allocation. Two of the recipients are customers of the company I work for.
Thank you very much, councillors. Item number 7 is announcements by members. Do members have any announcements? Please remember that you have a limit of 3 items. Councillor Njima, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Outstanding Business Achievement Awards were held last Thursday night, and it was definitely some kind of a record in terms of attendance, with over 190 attendees. I think that's anywhere from 40 to 50 more than I can remember anyway. The weather was perfect. It was a little bit chilly, but that's okay. It was gorgeous at Sue Ann Staff's Winery. The food was delicious, and a good time was held by all. And I want to say congratulations to the OBAA Achievement Awards Committee and to Katie and Lindsay from the Chamber for a job very well done. And also one more announcement, Madam Mayor, from the Niagara Peninsula Aspiring Global Geopark. They're in the process of putting together a comprehensive flyer about the initiative to have the Niagara Peninsula declared a global geopark. And the flyer is intended for raising awareness among all of the municipal candidates all over Niagara over the next 5 weeks. And when it's finalized, I'll send a copy to the clerk, hoping that she can share it with the candidates in Lincoln.
That's great. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Councillor. Councillor Timmers.
Thank you very much, Mayor Easton. I have a couple of announcements just quickly. On September 9th, I was very happy to attend the Community Care of West Niagara flag raising, the first time that we raised a flag in celebration of Community Care's work in our community. I also attended the Grape Growers Celebrity Luncheon along with many of the people here around the table, and congratulations to the new Grape King, Ben Froese. I was also at the Chamber of Commerce Outstanding Business Achievement Awards, and it certainly was a fantastic evening, and just congratulations to all of the businesses that received awards that night. It certainly is a great event to celebrate our local businesses. So thank you, Mayor Easton.
Thank you very much. Councillor McPherson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And just quickly, from the BIA, this weekend, Saturday, September 24th, is the much-anticipated Fling on King that has been shut down for the last 2 years. So very excited to see that event, and it's billed as the greatest street party there is. So from 2 to 10 p.m., all members of the family can enjoy various activities. And for those that are fans, Vinyl Flux will be on the ticket in the evening. So get out and enjoy. Lots of food trucks and lots of things going on downtown Beamsville. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. And Councillor Russell, I think you have a few words about Lincoln Township Motors. Thank you.
That I do. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Through you, yes, myself, yourself, and Councillor Timmers were at the official grand opening at the Lincoln Town Motors on Saturday. We had a great turnout. Again, the staff put on a wonderful day. They had some free ice cream, some free vendors. The Lions Club definitely supported it. We had a lot of great interaction with the residents, and again, I think they've invested a lot of money into that business, and we know that it's a long history in that area. Heard some great stories from yourself about the roots of the former business, and I know that the owner and the staff there are going to they're set up for success. So hopefully many good years for them at Lincoln Town.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks very much. It was such a great day. I hated to have it pass. Councillor Mikulik.
Thank you very much, Mayor Easton. Just wanted to say thank you to the organizers of Pioneer Day this weekend. It was well attended. Weather was beautiful. It was a perfect time of the year. My wife and I went, spoke with some of the vendors and the people there, and everyone had a great time. Nice that it's back in Jordan in the new museum. Many people were given an opportunity to go through the museum, and I heard nothing but good things. And I felt really good about wandering around through the Jordan Village that day. Thank you.
That's great. I don't know about the rest of you, but I certainly managed to leave an awful lot of money behind. So it was great. Very authentic displays. It's back on track again. Very happy to see that. Councillor Brunet.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just quickly, I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that as council representatives on Penn West Hydro, myself as chair, Councillor McPherson as a board member, we had the opportunity to sit on the NPEI AGM last week. as well as yourself as being a NPI member. It's always great to get an update at the AGM from the NPI and find out about the financial status of the organization, as well as dividends and what NPI is doing as an organization to prepare all the municipalities, including Niagara Falls, Pelham, West Lincoln, and Lincoln, that are members of the different breakdowns of Penn West and NPI, as we prepare for expansion and how they prepare to better serve the hydro utility of all those municipalities. So it was a great opportunity to get the updates, and just wanted to make sure our residents were aware of that. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. All right. I don't see any other names. I think we pretty well covered, oh, Councillor Pachariva. I'm
Thanks.
sorry.
Thanks, Your Worship.
That was a sleight of hand there.
That's okay. I'd be remiss too if I didn't update council with respect to the Niagara Regional Transit Commission. I'm the council's representative on that. We named Ms. Carla Stout as the general manager of the Niagara Regional Transit Commission. She came forward with a tremendous business plan of how she would like to take that organization. And come January 1st, when Niagara Regional Transit comes to life, it's going to be seamless, and you're not going to see any differentiation between what was running before and what's running now. There'll be some branding going on. They're going to have a seamless platform, cards, and then a long-term plan is, in a couple of years, is to have the on-demand and specialized transit become part of that portfolio. So good things are coming. We're meeting weekly. Tomorrow we're going to hear about, of course, in camera, about the structure of the organization and placeholders. But being told that there is a spot for everyone in the new organization from St. Catharines, Niagara Falls, and Welland Transit. So thank you very much. I guess I'll have to do it via email to keep you posted, as this is our last meeting, though. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's lots of communication lines, so no shortage. You won't have a problem. I also have two items this evening, two rather exciting items. So let me just give you a little demonstration here. This is a drum that we've acquired from the Canada Summer Games, and this was put together by the Indigenous Partnership Council. It's an art piece that is part of a 13-moon drum art initiative. Each municipality received one, and they are quite unique in one spot on the drum. So I found out tonight from my executive assistant that this is not to be put in a case, not to be ignored. It is to be out collecting dust, fingerprints, and any number of things that you could expect if you actually took a drum and used it. And they're going to be giving us some instructions on who the people are that can take this drum and actually use it. So I used it already, not knowing that. I just took the mayor's prerogative, as you're aware that I do from time to time. And I played it during one of the women's lacrosse games. And believe me, with Alberta in front of me and BC at the other end, I really needed to beat this drum. Alberta won, or no, BC won. So this is Lincoln. It says Lincoln. And it says Labrador and Newfoundland because that was our 13 by 13 team, and it's got the grapes down on the bottom here. So this is, I thought it was going in the case that we have where all of our wonderful artifacts go, but not so. This is going to be available. And I think there's something that says that the CAO cannot have it when he gets annoyed with council. So sorry about that, Mr. CAO. So, Madam Clerk, if you wouldn't mind taking this. So that's one piece. It's kind of exciting. And then today, I received a note, and the note reads, There's an old proverb that goes, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Indeed, together, the Niagara 2022 Canada Summer Games went very far. Our host society wants to thank you for giving us the opportunity to take this legacy journey and for joining Team Niagara on this journey. It's been quite the ride. With our deepest gratitude, the Niagara 2022 Host Society. And they have provided us with a descriptor of the medal story. And this definitely will be going into the case. And this is a beautiful case that has the gold, silver, and bronze medal in it. And this is the Town of Lincoln copy, and each municipality has received one. So this will be going in the case, along with the note and the story about the medals, and that'll be the provenance. Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. All right, I guess that's all this unfinished business that we need to ensure gets looked after. The next item on the agenda is proclamation. And we have 3 proclamations this evening. And joining us to receive the first is the Bauer family, John and Patty Bauer. I haven't met them. Could you stand up, please? Thank you very much. And Patty, I understand you're going to you have a little presentation. Please come forward, and I'll give you that opportunity. And this is your husband, John?
My son Eric, and my mom Joanne. Can you turn the mic on?
Thank you very much. I'm very pleased to meet you all. All of council is pleased to meet you, and thank you for coming this evening. Just let me give a little background, and you're going to get real comfortable up there, Patty, so don't worry. We raised the flag last week for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and we know your family has unfortunately been touched by cancer, and so I'm inviting you to share a few words about your daughter Miranda and to bring awareness on what the community can do to help. So here is the proclamation, and I will be presenting this with you, or to you after you've spoken. Whereas Childhood Cancer Canada runs an annual campaign called Make Canada Gold to help raise awareness for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in September. And whereas cancer is the leading cause of death in Canadian children, and 1 in 5 will not survive beyond 5 years after diagnosis, and close to the hearts of many Canadian families. And whereas Childhood Cancer Canada supports children and families through programs and support. And whereas the Foundation has also been the primary charitable funding partner as clinical trials and childhood cancer research such as C17 Council, comprised of Canada's leading pediatric oncologists and hematologists. And whereas we applaud the tireless, dedicated volunteers, scientists, healthcare professionals, and parent organizations who are working to overcome and cure childhood cancers and assist these afflicted families, which requires the support of their community. And whereas we admire and support the courageous youth who struggle with this disease, now therefore, I, Sandra Easton, Mayor of the Town of Lincoln, do hereby proclaim September 2022 as Make Canada Gold for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. Patty, I'd like to invite you to make your presentation at this time.
Thank you. I wrote this down so that I didn't forget anything. Good evening, Mayor Easton, and council members for the Town of Lincoln. First of all, we just want to take a minute and thank you all for your attention to our request and for your support with regards to allowing us to raise a flag for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in memory of our daughter. In honor of those children fighting this disease and to those who have beaten this disease. We want you to know that you are all greatly appreciated for the support you've given us. September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. We go gold. in September because our children are more precious than gold, and yet only pennies go to childhood cancer research. We are the family of Miranda Bauer. We lost our Miranda to alveolar rhabdomyosarcoma in March of 2013, and we found out at that time that there is a distinct lack of research and awareness of these diseases. Just a couple of things we found out. 1 in 285 children will be affected by cancer. Childhood cancer, as you stated, Mayor Easton, is the #1 cause of death by disease for children. #1, like that's ridiculous. There are over 200 types of childhood cancer, and that's not including subtypes and mutations. And yet we throw pennies at it to try to solve this problem. 1 in 5 children will not survive, and those who do survive the 5 years are counted in the survivor statistic. That child can relapse the day after 5 years, and yet they are still counted as a survivor. The statistics are not accurate. Over 90% of those that are affected by childhood cancer and survive to adulthood will have long-term health issues. Some of those issues will be cardiac issues, some will be pulmonary, some will be cognitive, some will be growth. You can see some children who have been affected by cancer have completed their treatment, and their growth emotionally, mentally, physically, it can be very stunted. One of the worst things that we found out when our Miranda was in treatment was that the protocol that she was on was the first breakthrough in 30 years. Our daughter should be turning 27 on Thursday. And instead, this is now the 10th year that I have not had my little girl for her birthday. We lost her 9.5 years ago, actually. So this means that 14 years before Miranda was even born was the last breakthrough in any kind of treatment for rhabdo, alveolar in particular. There have only been 4 chemotherapy drugs that have been developed specifically for children. All the other chemo drugs that are used and treatments that are used are basically scaled back treatments for adults. The way children grow, that's how cancer grows. How can you treat something that's still growing with a treatment that's meant for someone who has stopped growing? It doesn't make any sense. Any donations that are made to children's hospitals should be designated. When you donate to just a children's hospital, and I'm not saying please don't do that, I'm saying do that. But the hospitals will take those funds and they will send them to where the hospital feels that they're needed. Could be a parking lot, could be equipment. Designate your donations, whether it's research, whether it's cardiac, pulmonary, NICU, childhood cancer in our case.
Patty, you have 1 minute,
Thank you.
please.
September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and as such, we're hoping that a flag supplied by us will be flown for the month of September, and we would like to ask the town of Lincoln to formally proclaim September Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. We're inviting all members of the community to attend, and we also would like the opportunity to plant gold ribbons in memory and support of children lost to or battling this disease. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you for your continued support. I'm Patty, Eric, John, and my mom, Joanne. We're everyone who loves Miranda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Here's a copy of the proclamation. It's my pleasure to present this to you on behalf of the council. The second proclamation is regarding Rail Safety Week. Whereas Rail Safety Week is to be held across Canada from September 19th to 25th, 2022, and whereas it is in the public's best interest to raise citizens' awareness of the dangers of ignoring safety warnings at level crossings and trespassing on rail property to reduce avoidable deaths, injuries, and damage caused by incidents involving trains and citizens. And whereas Operation Lifesaver is a public-private partnership whose aim is to work with the public, rail industry, governments, police services, media, and others to raise rail safety awareness. And whereas the Town of Lincoln supports CN's ongoing efforts to raise awareness, save lives, and prevent injuries in communities, including within the community. Now therefore, I, Sandra Easton, Mayor of the Town of Lincoln, do hereby proclaim September 19th to 25th, 2022 as Rail Safety Week. Madam Clerk, it's my understanding that there is no one to receive this proclamation. Thank you. The final proclamation is regarding Ontario Cadets Week, and I believe that we have a representative here this evening. Is that correct? Thank you. Whereas Bill 45, an act to proclaim Ontario Cadets Week, was passed into law by the Ontario Lieutenant Governor on April the 11th, 2022, and whereas Canada has a dynamic cadet program with numerous cadet corps and squadrons across Ontario, and whereas the Air Cadet League Ontario Provincial Committee, the Army Cadet League of Canada, Ontario, and the Navy League of Canada, in partnership with the Canadian Armed Forces, provide programs for Air, Army, and Sea Cadets 12 to 18 years of age, along with the Navy League of Canada, which sponsor the Navy League Cadets, a separate program for youth 9 to 12 years of age. And whereas Annual Cadet Week is to honor these outstanding youth who grow and develop through participating in the cadet programs and learn to be effective leaders with an invested interest in their community and the skills to actively contribute to society in meaningful ways, as well as recognizing those who support the programs directly and indirectly. And whereas cadets have been part of the Lincoln community and in the West Niagara area for over 50 years, and now therefore, I, Sandra Easton, Mayor of the Town of Lincoln, do hereby proclaim October the 1st to the 7th, 2022 as Ontario Cadets Week. Carrie Meltor, would you please come forward? Item number 9 on the agenda is recognition and achievements, and I would like to ask our CAO, Michael Kirkopoulos, to provide his comments and to address council at this time. Mr. CAO.
Through you, Madam Mayor, and those that know me know I typically don't read things, but I thought, considering this is the last meeting of council, I would prepare something, I would read it, and so I ask for council's indulgence. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council, residents, and staff of the Town of Lincoln. I stand before you this evening making some final comments at our last council meeting of the 2018 to 2022 term of council. But before I do get to that, I was at the flag raising with Miranda's family, and my heart goes out to them. I think every time I hear the story, I think of my own 14 and 12-year-old daughters, and I can't imagine what you're going through. So on behalf of, I know our senior leadership team, my heart does go out to you at this time. So now for my comments. First, let me begin by expressing on behalf of the senior management team our collective condolences on the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. I watched some of the funeral this morning and believe that the ceremony we witnessed and the outpouring of love that we've seen is a testament to her years of service. Her comments back in 1947 declaring that her life would be in service of a great nation was a promise well made and a promise well kept. May she rest in peace. So this leads me to members of council and my comments to all of you as we close this term. And to public service that all of you have given over the past 4 years, 2 of which have been very unprecedented given the global pandemic we've experienced. I can tell you running for elected office, although I haven't done it, is not easy, and I know that because as your CAO, I've had the pleasure of working with all of you, not just over these past 4 years, but for many of you, almost 7 years now that I've been here. The time commitment that's required by each of you, from taking calls at all hours of the day to participating in evening meetings and community events, is more than most people recognize, and for that I say, on behalf of all the staff here at the Town of Lincoln and all our residents and businesses, thank you for your service. Thank you for putting your name forward to help make our community a better place, and I wish all those running again and those that have put their names forward the best of luck. In 2018, we embarked on this term of council. Council wanted to lay out concrete steps to help plan for the future by making Lincoln a community that is welcoming, connected, vibrant, and resilient. This future fit Lincoln, as we called it, is one that benefits all members of our community, from the newly arrived citizen to those families that have been with us for generations. This vision was put together in a strategic plan that helped set the direction for staff throughout the past 4 years. And we are pleased to report to all that all priority objectives were acted upon and can be built upon for the next term of council. Some of those highlights I've shared in the past, but I'm going to highlight them again, and they include things like a establishment of a new on-demand transit system and the region-wide transit authority that was mentioned this evening, ongoing citizen engagement through advisory committees, supporting community groups, completion of pro-kitchen Rotary parks, focusing on youth and the establishment of a youth skills studio to help get our youth and businesses ready for a post-pandemic recovery, increased recreation and cultural programming, completing a new museum and cultural center, enhanced communication activities through the launch of Speak Up Lincoln and our community newsletters, enhanced services through our library and fire services with neighboring municipalities. We advocated and secured close to $60 million in funding from upper levels of government, developed a new tourism brand, the Niagara Benchlands, to help grow our local tourism and hospitality economy. And we supported a robust infrastructure renewal program that saw unprecedented levels of construction across Lincoln. While these are just a few of our successes, and there were many, it behooves me to mention that over the past 2 years, half of this term of council, both council and staff navigated a global pandemic that caused us really to throw at our playbooks, to think differently on how we support the community, and at the same time continue to deliver on the important projects and services our residents have come to expect. While some items remain long-term strategies and continuing conversations we will have with the next council, we have laid an important foundation that will help set us up for success. Through your guidance and leadership, Mayor Easton and members of council, I am pleased that we have been able to accomplish this together, and on behalf of all the team here at the Town of Lincoln and the community, thank you for your service. On a special note, today is Councillor McPherson's last council meeting. Back in the end of 2015, December 2015, when I joined the Town of Lincoln as your CAO, I recall Councillor McPherson pulling me aside at one of our first meetings and saying, "Mike, I'm pleased that you're here and excited for what the future entails and what we can accomplish together. Now let's get working." Well, Councillor, over the past 7 years, we've accomplished a lot together. Over his time here as councillor, many of those years spent as chair of Planning and Economic Development Committee, Councillor McPherson championed many files, but most notably, the communication and economic development portfolios. He always said, we need the right people in place to put purposeful plans together to help grow our economy, communicate with our residents, and move towards a common goal of prosperity for all. Through his work, working with the Downtown Banks-Beamsville BIA, Councillor McPherson championed a revamped BIA that would help put downtown on the proverbial map, and look how far we've come. More work to do, but he really set that foundation. On the economic development portfolio, Councillor McPherson, along with council, helped champion the need for a full-time economic development position that would work closely with our business community, listen to their concerns, and help set our community down a path of economic growth, which we have seen. Since 2017, we have seen a significant increase in local jobs created and new businesses that have opened their doors. Councillor, thank you for your service to both the residents of Ward 3, but also to the entire community. You leave on a high note, and your leadership and guidance will be sorely missed. I, for one, will miss our regular conversations and the guidance you provided. On behalf of all of SMT, I would like to present you with a small token of our appreciation to you, and I'll quickly read it out. Presented to Councillor Paul McPherson for 8 years of service on the Town of Lincoln Council, including your leadership as Chair of the Planning and Economic Development Committee. We recognize and appreciate your commitment, dedication, hard work, and sacrifice. Thank you from the entire senior management team of the Town of Lincoln, 2014 to 2022.
So, thank you very much, and like Mike, this being my last meeting with this council and as a Ward 3 councillor, I'd just like to say a few thank yous and maybe a few parting comments. Firstly, a huge thank you to the residents of Ward 3 who have been so supportive of me over the past 8 years, especially to those that take the time to get engaged at the local level, helping to make our community a better place. I truly am honored to have been your voice, one of your voices, at Town Hall over the past 8 years. To my Ward 3 running mates, Mike Mikulik right beside me and Dave Thompson in the first term, it's been my pleasure to work alongside two very dedicated and hardworking councilors, always ready to jump in to assist a neighbor with an issue and or opportunity. I've enjoyed our time together. Thanks to both of you. To our, as Mike mentioned, to our outstanding staff at the Town of Lincoln, your expertise, knowledge, and willingness to get involved has made my life as a counselor so much easier. I know we have one of the strongest staffs in the region and would challenge any community across the province to match what the Town of Lincoln can roll out in each department. Thanks for all you do. This one's for you, Mike. So to our CAO, I have to go back to early 2015 when we were in the process of parting with the CAO of the time. As a new counselor and one that came out of a fairly conservative work environment, I was uncomfortable to part with the CAO, not knowing what we were signing up for. Looking back now, I know it was the best decision we made over my 8 years for the residents of Lincoln. Mike, you have always been there at a moment's notice, many times on the weekend, to jump in to help. Your leadership has taken our community to new heights, resulting in what I think is the envy of the Niagara region. Your support and guidance on key issues has helped me tremendously. You truly care for this community. To my fellow councilors in Mayor Easton, it's been a very quick 8 years. It really has. I know I am better for the experience I've had with this group. Not always in agreement, The respect for each other and the willingness to make a democratic decision and move on will remain with me. The change brought to this community over the past 8 years has been, in my opinion, outstanding. I am so grateful to have been a part of it. Finally, to my wife Leslie, who has been 100% in on my political interests from day one and has been a receptive ear to my wins, losses, moans, and complaints over 2 terms, and that's a long 8 years. Who has, and this is true of many of our spouses, who has been forced to eat dinner early or alone so many times. To my daughters Kendra and Ellen, who have been my biggest cheerleaders, always checking in on the goings-on in Lincoln and supporting me along this journey, I say thank you, thank you, thank you, and I love you gals. Stepping away from the ward councilor role is a decision not easily made. I, in my heart, know it is the right one for me. This doesn't mean I just head off into the sunset. I have more things I want to do with my time to contribute to this community. I will also take the time to pursue other interests that have taken a back seat over the years. It's simply my time to move on, and so it's until we meet again. So thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you to this council, and thank you to the staff.
Thank you, Councillor McPherson. I'm sure, Mr. CAO, that every other councillor around this horseshoe is waiting for their gift and for those equally glowing comments. What say you, councillors? Well done and very appropriate. I have a few comments that I would like to make as well. Very brief, because I have written a note to the councillor highlighting many of the items that Mr. CAO has written, and they are all very accurate. And I believe that every councillor that has sat around this table since I have been the mayor has been tremendously dedicated and never has never wavered from taking on the major tasks. And those include special interest projects, which I feel are so vitally important to the community. If there's something you can get your teeth into, the end result is always really to the greatest benefit of the community. So thank you very much, Councillor. Heavy decision, no question, but I'm sure that we're going to see you frequently. I want to thank you very much for your commitment, for your dedication, and for your own upholding of the oath and the integrity that you brought to the position. Thank you very much. All right. We'll move on to item number 10 on the agenda, which is delegations and presentations. We have none that fit into that category this evening. We have no additional items for consideration. We move on to item 12, which is a motion to approve previous council minutes. And we are now considering item 12.1, the council minutes of August the 2nd, 2022. Do members of council have any questions? I see none. I have a motion moved by Councillor Mikulik and seconded by Councillor Timmers that council approve the minutes of the following meetings of council, special council minutes of August the 2nd, 2022. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
The vote is now open. Closing the vote. And that carries.
Thank you. The motion is carried. We move on now to recommendations from standing committees, and we're now considering the following: Committee of the Whole minutes of September the 7th, 2022, Committee of the Whole minutes of September 14th, 2022. Do members of council have any questions? There being none, I have a motion moved by Councillor McPherson and seconded by Councillor Russell. The council approve the following recommendations from standing committee: Committee of the Whole minutes of September the 7th, 2022, Committee of the Whole minutes of September 14th, 2022. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
The vote is now open. Closing the vote. And that carries.
Thank you. The motion is carried. We have no notice of motion this evening. Item number 15 is report of municipal officers, and we're now considering item 15.1, the mayor's report. And then following with Regional Councilor Rob Foster's report. Ladies and gentlemen and councilors, I'm influenced this evening by the happenings of today and what we've heard about a 70-year history of one woman's contribution to her community, to her commonwealth. There are several areas that I think should be, I believe, made available to the public to fully understand the role of a councillor in a municipality, which is the government that's closest to the people. Servant leadership comes to mind. The oath of office comes to mind, that 24/7 commitment. The issue of integrity to self and integrity to the community, to your family, to everyone around you. The intentions that we put before the public, not promises, but intentions that come from those community conversations that we have with our neighbors. And as the CAO has well described, not only the vision of Grow, Prosper, Belong, which is pretty stable for about 10 years, but also the priorities that we established that can go 5 years possibly, but could also be changed every term, depending on what those priorities are that are happening in the world around us. Welcoming, connected, vibrant, resilient community. The definition of servant leadership is interesting. It's when an individual interacts with others, either in a management position or a fellow employee capacity, to achieve authority rather than power. In municipal government, servant leadership is about how we work together as a council, how we work with our community members and represent them, and also how we work together with the staff. We have 2 teams of people working here, and I'm pleased to say that we have, through the cooperation and the understanding of roles, we have been able to come together and achieve a great deal. That's not a platitude. That's not us patting ourselves on the back. That is the report card that we have shared with the community of Lincoln. When we are servant leaders, we value people for who they are. When we are operating in full humility, we are promoting others for the things that they have accomplished on everyone's behalf. And this is why you hear us support the staff that work in the town. It's not that difficult to come up with a work list. It's a whole different matter trying to ensure that that work list achieves what it's supposed to achieve in the time that's available to you. Listening. Listening through others and seeking first and understanding and then to be understood. In this way, we know when our service is needed. We don't need to get involved in every issue. It's important for us to know when our service is needed. When you are a servant leader, you give trust to others, and you willingly take this risk for the people they serve. Servant leaders are trusted because they are authentic and reliable. And they are caring. Servant leaders have people and purpose in their heart, and they display a kindness and concern for others. They are here to serve, not to be served, and they truly care about the people that they serve. And I mention this to you because we will have some changes on council. And I want to make sure that everyone understands that there are a number of tenets that come along with the role. Being elected is only one. When you sit in the seat, you have a responsibility, you have accountability. I believe that this council, that there is good evidence, very good evidence, that this council has achieved many of these things, many of these targets, and we certainly look forward to continuing, whoever the council is, to bring everyone on board and to ensure that this is the direction that we are going to be taking. I remind you that for those of you who live in Lincoln, where children are encouraged to achieve their very best, where everyone strives to be a good neighbor, and where our goals are the community's goals. I want to thank everyone who's watching this evening. This is a significant time in the history of the town of Lincoln. That turnover from one council to the next, I think it is worth putting things on an even keel, putting things in perspective in terms of how we have been operating for the last 4 years. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is 15.2, and I'd like to call our colleague, Regional Councillor Rob Foster, to the podium. Thank you very much, Rob. Thanks for joining us again. You've been dedicated to your commitment to be here at every meeting. I think you may have missed 2.
No, actually, I was doing a count, and there's 6 that I missed.
Oh, you didn't.
So,
Oh,
and
I don't know.
and-
I don't know, Counselor.
and Mike Mikulak pointed that out to me when I missed 2 in a row. He got a hold of me and said, "What's wrong with you? Why aren't you showing up at council?"
Well,
So
you must have made up for it because I don't remember all those misses.
it's
At any rate, we're very happy that you're here tonight, closing this off along with us, and please go ahead with your report.
Yeah, so just a couple of things before I get into this. Yes, this is your last council meeting. I personally want to express my sadness in a lot of ways with Councillor McPherson stepping away from council. I've watched him grow as a councillor here. We were on council together the first 4 years. He was this quiet, unassuming guy that came from the East End the first 4 years, and I gotta tell you, he has developed into a very strong advocate on behalf of a wide variety of things here at Lincoln Council. I can say that you've done a great job in all of the portfolios that you've stepped into. So And I'm a little jealous because I really like that thing that Mike gave you. I got nothing from him when I left, so. So there's a good point. Just as well, I just want to congratulate Councillor Pachariva. He's now broken my level on being elected councillor here in the town, so I made 18 years. You've now just hit 19 years with this, so. I also want to thank Mayor Easton. She and I together have done an awful lot of work at Niagara Region. I want to congratulate you, Sandra, for, you know, we're going to have you there for the next 4 years as our mayor. For better or worse, you're going to have me there as your regional councillor for the next 4 years. But I'll tell you, we had a lot of issues at Niagara Region when we came into play in 2018. The Niagara Region was a mess. You know, it was an organization that people, for all intents and purposes, we couldn't get people to come and work. There was situations where just the attitude in and across Ontario. I mean, as you guys know, I've been on the board of AMO for a long time. And Niagara was being talked about for all the wrong reasons. Well, that's changed, and that's changed dramatically. And it took some tough slogging on behalf of all of us who are regional councillors there. So with that, I think we've made some great progress. And Mr. Kirkopoulos earlier this evening also talked about transit, as did Councillor Pachariva. Tough decisions were made and had to be made. And we now have systems in place that are really, really going to lead us into the future. But it's going to be tough slogging, and I'm really appreciative of John being on the Transit Commission. And certainly I will be supporting what it is the town is thinking in these areas as we come back to council. So anyway, I look forward to that. And probably the single biggest thing that all of us had to deal with was waste management. I got more phone calls from all of you guys for the first year and a half on waste management and the problems that were going on with it. To be perfectly frank, I've had maybe about 3 calls since the new system has gone in place. Again, Mike Mikulak is the one that's phoning me about it, but that's okay. He wants to make sure I'm on my toes with those things. So anyway, just thank you, Councillor McPherson, for what you've been able to accomplish. And I will also say, I don't have staff. Down at Niagara Region, I'm on my own. So, you know, you guys have tremendous staff here that you're dealing with. Between Mike, your senior team, Andrea, who works with both the mayor and Mike, I'll tell you, you have a great team, senior management team here at the town. And I want to really thank them because they have always been very good to me over the last 4 years. If there's an issue that's going on, Mike, Dave, and sometimes Lawrence, but Mike and Dave for sure have been able to get back to me and make sure that we're able to deal with the issues that are going on within the municipality. And these are all very important. A couple of quick updates for everybody. South Service Road and Jordan Road. As we know, we've seen some bad accidents there over the course of the last couple of months, okay? Just trust me, your 2 councillors from the East End have been all over me with this, and justifiably. I've been working with Mr. Graham on this, and I've been working with Carolyn Riel at Niagara Region. There was a major cleanup done on that intersection. They went through, there was a lot of vegetation problems that were going on in those corners. They've cleaned that up. They're now doing a study, and it's going to be coming back to us at Regional Council as to what the next steps are that they're going to have to do. We've had suggestions. Councillor McPherson made some suggestions back in and through. I've passed those on to regional staff, and we shall see where this takes us. So, But this is one of these things that we have to do. I got a phone call from an old friend of mine at the corner of 4th Avenue and 9th Street about, again, vegetation problems going on at that thing. They came in, the region, both with forestry staff and with public works staff, cleaned up that intersection over the course of the last couple of days as well. So, so again, some positive things that are going on. Something that everybody should be very happy with at this council, and I'm hoping that it gets fully approved on Thursday night. The automated speed enforcement program was approved at Public Works this past week. What this means to us is that there is going to be a series of 4 automated systems that are being put in place. They are going to be portable, so they're going to be moved from community safety zone to community safety zone in and across Niagara. And we're looking forward to this finally coming in place. Boy, that's good English. They are working with staff within our transportation area with a third-party company that is actually doing this work. We're also working with the City of Toronto, which is doing a lot of the processing of the information back in and through. So just to tell you, we're finally moving on this, and I really appreciate this council passing the motion that they did when we did about Vision Zero and how we're supporting that within this council and within our municipality. So thank you very much for that. And we passed at the Public Health Committee a commitment to 95 new FTEs for long-term care and the funding that's going on within that. So what this means is that from a budget point of view, going into 2023, you have a commitment from Niagara Region now to be expanding in those areas. There are monies that are coming from the provincial government, of course, which is appropriate. That also means an expenditure on behalf of all of us at Niagara Region as well. As a lot of these things, in my opinion, are long overdue, but this is an appropriate area that we're moving forward with. This upcoming Thursday is going to be our last real council meeting. There's 2, I'm not going to say fake council meetings, there's 2 council meetings dealing with public meeting stuff going on towards the end of this month, but our final major council meeting is going to be on Thursday. We still have the saga of the procedural bylaw, which I seem to be all wrapped up in media, and I have a lot of people not liking me for that, but that's okay. I'm elected for the next term already. And we also have the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Action Plan from 2023 to 2027 is coming into play, and that's going to be officially voted upon this Thursday night. So long story short, a lot of real positive things at the tail end of this council, and anyway, I'm just pleased that I'm going to be a part of working with you guys again for another 4 years. With that, any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Foster, and yes, I certainly I'm looking forward to the next 4 years to work with you and to continue pulling together on a number of issues that are pretty close to being finalized, so
yeah.
That's great. I have Councillor Reimer? No, I'm sorry. The red light does mean.
Oh, it's, okay. Thank you, Mary Easton.
Yes, thank you very much, Councillor Timmers.
Through to our Regional Councillor Foster. Thank you again for being here tonight and for your report. I just wanted to ask a question around the automated speed enforcement program. So these are going to be rotated amongst the entire Niagara region to the community safety zones,
Correct.
right? I'm just wondering if you know how many community safety zones there are.
Yes, there's 13 right now that are in front of schools. And that's the first area that's going to be followed through is in front of the school areas. We're starting with 4 because, again, this is new. This is relatively pilot as we're going through this as well. So the starting point is the 4. We're going to see where it takes us. There's a commitment, I believe, don't hold me to this, but I believe it was $760,000 that we're spending over the course that's going on with this project. It will end up being revenue neutral. All of the studies out of Toronto and Hamilton and other areas show that this is revenue neutral when it's all said and done. So, so anyway, but yes, to answer your question specifically, there's 13.
Okay, that's great, thank you. I was just trying to understand how long it would take before they're rotated through. I wasn't sure how many there were. Do you know when they will be starting exactly, a date?
No, I'm not exactly sure of the starting date. Don't forget, we have to do the final approval through council
Right.
this upcoming Thursday.
Right, okay.
And then there's going to be a plan laid out to follow it through. I would suggest to you the first 2 community safety zones that were set up by the region as part of this program was our own Victoria in front of 20 Valley School, and the other one was down in Niagara-on-the-Lake in front of a school down there. So the reality is that it's likely they're going to be looking at our area as one of the first, but can't guarantee that. We're going to see what the plan is that they're doing. The other thing too is that it is going to be a rotation basis, so they haven't provided to us, or staff haven't provided to us yet, the length of time that they're expecting on any particular area, but that will be coming.
That's great. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mary Easton.
Thank you very much, Councillor. And next I have Councillor Majima.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Foster, for coming again and speaking to us and updating us. I have a question about the approval of the 95 FTEs for long-term care. I don't know if you know at this point where those positions are going, but I know there's 2 new long-term care hubs being built or in the process of being built, one in St. Catharines and one in Fort Erie. So are these are some of these FTEs being designated to those facilities, and that's part of the reason for the increase, or what do you know?
Well, I'm glad you brought up the issue on the 2 new facilities. Again, long overdue capital development are going on with both of those in Fort Erie and in St. Catharines. And both of those facilities, we're talking 110, 120 million. So this is not an insignificant amount of money that's going into play. And as well, it's being built to standards based on what it is that we've seen with COVID and other pieces of the puzzle over the last number of years in healthcare. The 95, this is the first level of approval that we've got going. And again, most of this is coming from the province. Like most of the monies for this is going to be handed out from them in order for us to do this. And it's to try and help meet the shortage that we are seeing within it. So it certainly will be up to the senior staff to make decisions on where those people are going to really land.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Pachariva.
Thanks, Your Worship, and congratulations, Rob, on your acclamation, and look for.
I feel like you now.
I have nothing to say with that. That's okay. I'm speechless, Councillor Russell, for the first time.
I think your time is almost up, Councillor.
I know. With respect to the community safety zones, and Councillor Brunet and I have been out doing signs, going door to door, and we were promised by Director Rael that we'd be seeing one on Mountain Street. And then there's also King Street with Jacob Ames. So just ask that you know, on your, you and the mayor, with your due diligence on pushing that forward, because those are a couple problem areas, and we'd like to see that come to fruition, so.
Jacob Beadham is lower on the priority list. Mountain Street and the school there is higher on the priority list. My understanding is late next year, they're going to be putting into place with that particular spot, and I believe that's what we talked about earlier. We shall see with the whole program. I mean, when you roll out a community safety zone, it isn't just a matter of saying, oh, now it's a community safety zone. So all of this stuff is done in conjunction with the police, and is also done with other local authorities to make sure that everything is known and understood. They actually do a very heavy-duty policing aspect that goes into place when a community safety zone is first set up. And we saw that with 20 Valley School. And in fact, when it first went into place, they were stopping people and not issuing tickets, but they were basically telling, do you realize that you were over and doing this at that time? And then started ticketing people, and it made a pretty significant difference once that started going into play. So we shall see. Mountain Street, definitely, and it's one that I'm pushing continuously as well, so.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, because we were at the launch of the 20 Valley School one together, and learning that it was going to be about education, and, you know, I think we've done a lot with Mountain Street, and, you know, we know the traffic that's there, and, I mean, the community safety zone in Whitby, where they caught someone doing 45 over, or 50 over, and it was a teacher. So, I mean, you know, at some point, you know, these things have to come to fruition, and you know, our residents are asking for it, so I look for your support and continued guidance on that, so thank you.
Well, I'll give you and Councillor Bernier credit. Outside of Michalak and garbage, you know, you two have been the most consistent on particularly that issue, and yes, it is being pushed.
Excellent. And the King Street rebuild to the roundabout.
Oh, yeah, that's coming.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you very much. And we have Councillor McPherson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, first of all, Rob, thank you for your kind words. I appreciate that very much. I guess I didn't realize I was so quiet in the first term. But if I recall the first term, I think Councillor Foster generally had the microphone and was asking questions.
You couldn't get in a word edgewise, no, so.
But, no, seriously, I appreciate your kind words, and thank you for championing these issues in Ward 3 around the South Service Road, Jordan Road, and the other locations that I also would like you to take back to the region. A thank you for cleaning up the Jordan Hollow this past week. It was getting hairy down through there, and riding through there over the last day or so, it's cleaned up. You know, so that all of these candidates can put their signs up somewhere on there. So, but I would like to make a comment about Jordan Road and the South Service Road, and it really is about not looking for an expensive solution, and really, you know, examining the intersection to me sounds like a long process. And I think the fact that we've had 3 pretty serious accidents in the last 6 weeks or 8 weeks, you know, just to put up a flashing red light on the stop sign, simple as that, I can't imagine that that's too expensive, and I think it would go a long way to answering the local residents' concern. Yep, cleaning up the corner is okay, but we really haven't done anything with the intersection. And in speaking with Councillor Michalak in his campaigning, it is a hot topic going down through Jordan Road and Red Maple and all through there. So I would ask through you, Madam Mayor, that our Director of Public Works maybe push for a quick solution, a quick, inexpensive, maybe interim solution to get something going at that corner. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Turning to Councillor Michalak now.
Thank you very much, Mayor Easton, through you to Councillor Foster. You know, both me and Councillor McPherson are very similar minded, and we see the same things, and we reach out to you in the same way. I was actually going to comment and thank you for cleaning up the Jordan Hollow as well. I did notice that, and many people in the area do notice these sorts of things. I also want to say thank you very much for attending our monthly council meetings and putting yourself out there to answer questions or to give us updates and to take questions of any sorts. And when I say, well, where's Councillor Foster tonight? It's because I'm missing you, you know, and I appreciate you being here to take these questions and And I'm hoping that, well, you were acclaimed, you're going to continue, you're going to continue making that effort to show up to council meetings and take those questions that we have on a monthly basis. And thank you. It's appreciated.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Would you like to make your commitment now, Regional
Well,
Councillor Foster?
Last election, I promised that I would be here absolutely as much as I possibly could. And so, except for 6, that's not a bad record. I'll see if I can beat it this upcoming year, or this upcoming session, so.
Thanks very much, Councillor. We'll certainly take you at your word. And Councillor Russell, you have the last word here.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. Again, first, before I thank you for coming, again, Councillor Miklik hit a lot of the big notes that I think a lot of us are thankful for. Again, I've heard the rumor that Councillor McPherson was very quiet that first term, and I, again, being in my first term aligned with his second, I can't believe it, because right from the get-go, he's been one of our most vocal and upfront guys. So, again, hats off to you on your time served. And again, that myth out there that he was quiet in term 1, I'll go back to the records on that. Through you, Madam Mayor, just a quick question. We had a very passionate resident come in to our earlier September meeting asking about, among many things, law enforcement. And I know the NRPS, the budget lies within the region. Again, we've had a lot of questions and concerns over the years. I know we've talked about it as a group a few times. Can you give some insight into where we might be going as far as getting more boots on the ground for the next few years, what the budget looks like? Again, it's been a concern that's been raised a number of times. Just wondering if you can give some insights into maybe where we are, where we're going, whether there's that need there with our population growth and some of the things that might be happening down the road.
Well, I'll start by saying I wasn't prepared for that question, but I'll be happy to give you my views on it. So, number one, Sandra and I have been big time involved with making sure we have additional boots on the ground within the NRPS. We had a commitment to put another 40 as we went through, I believe was the number. And those people are starting to come online now. Now, when you sort of wave the magical wand and say, we're going to give you more money to do something, it takes a while because there's obvious training, there's obvious needs and trying to get the right people to come in and do these things. So we've done that. Sandra and I have also been very, very strong on advocating for additional presence here in the West End, okay? My personal opinion is that we don't have enough police forces here. And so when we get our opportunity, we hammer away at that with the police chief as well as others when they're in front of us talking about this. I would say to you as well, policing is also one of these areas that probably causes the most angst for us at regional level, because I have zero to say over their budget, okay? We have the opportunity for them to bring back a budget saying, this is what we're going to spend. And by the way, you guys don't have a say on this. This is what you need to approve. Which of course runs into a few problems every once in a while, because we actually push back and say, do you really need that tank? Do you really need it, guys? Or a brand new trailer to go and do what it is that you're doing, these capital items that you're talking about. So we do what we can in those particular situations, but police spending has been dramatically more than what has been going on with the rest of Niagara region. And I can tell you, this is going to be the single biggest problem for Niagara region this upcoming 4 years, is trying to figure out how we're going to be right-sizing the organization, and yet we have been putting funds into organizations such as the police at way more than what's going on with the rest of the region, and yet other services are suffering for it. So the question is, what are we going to do? You guys are going to have the same issue next term at council here, deciding where you're going to be spending your funds, how you're going to be doing it. We have a major problem at Niagara region that we have to figure out with this. It's been 4 years of, okay, let's get the ship sailing in the right direction and deal with COVID and all these other types of things, but we have to make some serious movements on both budget and on people at Niagara Region. So I'm sorry I'm sounding like I'm giving an election speech. It's not. Like this is where we're going. Like we have an awful lot of stuff that we have to deal with. We have to get out of the mindset at Niagara Region that we're going to do everything. Economic development right now, we're spending way more than the region can afford. Okay, way more in those areas. We talked about it at corporate services. We've had to dip into the reserves for another $16 million because there is so much going on in the area of CIPs that frankly, we could have done something about, but no, Regional Council made the decision that we're going to continue spending in all of these areas. So guess what? These are the types of things that we're going to have to work through and think through. And I'll be looking forward to your input and other input as we get into these things because, quite frankly, it's going to be a problem. So anybody who thinks it's easy to be on town council or regional council, it ain't going to be easy the next 4 years. You know, we're looking at significant problems that are coming into play. And just think if our economy hits a recession while we're at it. You know, this is going to cause even more grief for us as we're going through it. So stay tuned. It's going to be a fun 4 years, to say the least.
No, and thank you for that. And through you, Madam Mayor, just a comment. Again, for not being prepared, that was a fantastic answer. Again, I think a lot of the points you brought up have been things that we've been thinking about over the last few years, but as we head into our next budget cycle, again, whatever the next iteration of council might be, there are those same conversations, not to that same extent, but that we have to grapple with. And there are challenges out there. From a regional standpoint, I'm glad yourself and Mayor Reeston are advocates to bring that voice on behalf of Lincoln. And again, I look forward to whatever happens over the next few years.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor. I believe that Councillor Brunet was the deputy mayor when I received a phone call from the chair of the Niagara Regional Police Services. I have a typical question that I ask when the budget is presented. I'm always interested to know how many non-productive hours, how many full-time equivalents equal the non-productive hours. These are hours when police officers are not in the communities. This is going to court. This is people that are off on sick leave. This is people that are on parental leaves, et cetera, et cetera. There's a long list. They're classified as non-productive hours. The number that I was given almost 3 years ago was over 50 full-time equivalents. It's a legitimate number. You have it where you work. It's where everybody works. These are hours that are paid, and they are part of people's contracts, and everybody has them. Private sector, public sector, they're all there, and they eat up a huge number of hours. So Councillor Brunet and I decided that we needed to say to the police services, you need to start telling council the facts on where the FTEs are. If there's 50 full-time equivalents that are never seeing the light of day on the street of any community in the region, then you need to say that. And you need to start replacing them. So that was 3 years ago, so we got 40. I think that number's probably pretty clear. By now, that number is lost in the dust because it takes at least 3 years to get anybody on the ground. So I don't think, this is not going to be an easy solution, and this is not about wasting people's time. This is not about not having productive workers. This is the reality of what happens when you have a workforce that has to meet a certain standard. Long-term care facilities do not have a list of 10 items that say this is the standard of care that has to be here. There are certain things they have to do, but it's not galvanized like police services are. And that's why when they present their budgets, we have two choices. We can say yes, we can say no. If we say no, it goes immediately to a tribunal. And so it's not as if we can sit there and start, rifling through a line-by-line budget. It's not, that is not our role. And it is very, very difficult. So I have always believed that the approach that we've taken in Lincoln in terms of targeting where we need the police and when we need them is the best route. And I believe that we've seen the best service as a result of that. Because when they are here checking out these troublesome areas where people are driving like maniacs and the usual performance of rolling through stop signs, et cetera, they also have their eyes on other things. And so I really feel that in terms of community support and community service, since we're not the Knife and Gun Club out here, we need to get them into the community for other equally vital reasons. And that's the choice that we've had, and that's where Public Works and Mr. CIO's staff have assisted us. And it's legitimate. And every staff sergeant has acknowledged it and has bought into it and has made officers available to us. But it's not going to be easy. And I mean, that is just one small exercise, just finding out where you have a massive pot of resources that all have to be dealt with for a variety of reasons. And it's just not going to be easy. So we can say, no, we're rejecting the budget, and then we'll spend the next 6 months paying for a great big study to be done. And when the answer was there all along. You can go into any hospital, I don't care what it is. Any place where there are a lot of employees, you're gonna find that there are many, many people that never, ever see the boots on the ground expression. They're not there. They fall into another category. They could be on vacation, they could be on statutory holidays, they could be there's many, many reasons why people are not on the job in the community doing what we need them to do. 50 is a big number. That's a huge number, and I don't think we've made any progress. I was shocked that we actually got the 40, but I knew it was shrinking by the minute, because there's so much that's going on in the communities. So it comes to a big discussion about what are we going to do in our communities? What's our consciousness level going to be around the types of services and support and security and any number of things that we can do in the community so that we are more self-sufficient and are becoming more aware of where the true problems are in our communities. We may not have what a large city has, but I believe we have all kinds of trouble, small things. They grow into big things when you don't pay attention. So it's a good question. There's no question about it, but it's not easy. And I've seen 2 full councils now struggle with it, just in Niagara alone.
If I can add, Mayor Easton, too, and where I give this council full credit is your commitment to making the roads safer, okay? I mean, John knows from you and I being on council, I was making the call on this years ago, and I'm really, really glad that this council has taken that and ran with it. I've been able to help with some of the roads here in town. We've reduced speed limits on areas that should be reduced. I got to give full credit to Mr. Kirkopoulos and staff for making sure that we're out with the MTO and making sure that we're pulling over these vehicles. We had another article today that's gone on. The reality is that we once again are out there making sure that our roads are safe. Well, and I disagree vehemently with some of the commentary that comes back in with some in the community saying we never see any police. Well, I hate to break it to you, but actually we do see police, and they respond very well to what you guys send to your CAO, what Sandra and I are sending to the CAO as well. So, long story short, big issue. Looking forward to battling it through in the next term. So.
Thank you very much. I see no other names. I have a motion moved by Counselor Pachariva and seconded by Counselor Brunei, that council receive and file as information the following: mayor's report and regional councilor update. And I will now ask the clerk to call out the vote.
Thank you, by the way.
Thank you, Counselor.
Madam Mayor, I think you've timed out.
My
Did you
vote
wanna
is
do-
yes.
yeah,
I'm
thank you
not
very
sure
much.
what's happened with my system here, but I can't, it's not allowing me to come back in.
And I'll close that vote,
Okay.
and that carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The motion is carried. Item number 16 is a motion to consider confidential matters. We have no confidential matters this evening. Item 17 is a motion to approve bylaws, and we have 18 bylaws for consideration today. We will be considering bylaw number 2022-70 and 2022-71 separately due to the declared conflict by Councillor Renchima. Do members have any questions? I see none. I have a motion moved by Councillor Reimer and seconded by Councillor Mikulik that leave be given to approve the following bylaw. Number 2022-70, Madam Clerk, would you please read that bylaw?
Bylaw 2022-70, a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln, Prudhome's General Partner, Inc., together with any and all mortgages that may be on title at the point of registration of the agreement.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And bylaw 2022-71, a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln, Peter Thomas Bosma and Barbara Lynn Bosma, together with any and all mortgagees that may be on title at the point of registration of the agreement. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
The vote is now open. Mary Stan, did you want to give me your vote?
Yes.
And the vote is closing. And that carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The motion is carried. I have a motion moved by Councillor Renchima and seconded by Councillor McPherson that leave be given to approve the following bylaws. 2022-59, a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln, NHDG Beamsville, Inc., together with any and all mortgagees that may be on title at the point of registration of the agreement. Bylaw 2022-60, bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln, 1950578 Ontario, Inc., together with any and all mortgagees that may be on title at the point of registration of the agreement. Bylaw 2022-61, my apologies, Councillor Renchima, did you put your hand up? Do you have a question?
Yes.
What item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wasn't in the room, so I'm not sure if we're going to be dealing with these separately, individually, because I will be voting against 22-61.
61?
Yeah,
That's fine. That is your prerogative.
okay, so we'll be going through them
We'll
separately and
go,
voting?
we can go through that separately. Do you want it lifted?
Yes, please.
All right, I'm going to keep that aside then, Madam Clerk. All right, I'll move to item 2022-62, a bylaw to designate the property known municipally as 4175 Hickson Street in the town of Lincoln as being of cultural heritage value or interest pursuant to the Ontario Heritage Act, RSO 1990, Chapter 018. 2022-63, a bylaw to designate the property known municipally as 4506 Lakeside Drive in the town of Lincoln as being of cultural heritage value or interest pursuant to the Ontario Heritage Act, RSO 1990, Chapter 018. 2022-64, a bylaw to authorize the purchase of property for daylighting triangle purposes at 3865 Wismer Street. Bylaw 2022-65, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 89-2000, in brackets 89-28, being a bylaw regulating traffic and parking on local municipal roads, stop signs. Bylaw 2022-66, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 89-2000, 89-28, being a bylaw regulating traffic and parking on local municipal roads, no stopping. Bylaw 2022-67, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 89-2000, 89-28, being a bylaw regulating traffic and parking on local municipal roads, speed limit. Bylaw 2022-68, bylaw to amend bylaw number 89-2000, 89-28, being a bylaw regulating traffic and parking on local municipal roads, no parking. Bylaw 2022-69, a bylaw to declare Part 5 and Part 7, Plan 30R 15905 as part of the common and public highway system under the jurisdiction of the town of Lincoln as part of Glen Road. Bylaw 2022-72, a bylaw to amend zoning bylaw number 2022-50 of the town of Lincoln, William and Margaret Zweep. Bylaw 2022-73, a bylaw to authorize the sale and conveyance of lands to 10002757336 Ontario, Inc. Bylaw 2022-74, a bylaw to authorize the sale and conveyance of lands to Joshua Berman. Bylaw 2022-75, a bylaw to delegate certain powers and duties to officers and employees of the town of Lincoln, and to repeal the delegation of powers and duties policy CS-2007-02. Bylaw 2022-76, a bylaw to authorize the submission of an application to Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, OILC, for financing certain ongoing capital works of the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln, the lower tier municipality, to authorize temporary borrowing from OILC to meet expenditures in connection with such capital works, and to authorize long-term borrowing for such capital works through the issue of debentures by the regional municipality of Niagara, the upper tier municipality, to OILC. I will now ask our clerk to open the vote.
So just to clarify, we're not voting on bylaw 2022-61. These are all the other bylaws inclusive, so I will open the vote.
I support.
And the vote is open. Counselor Micklick? You may have logged out. Did you want to just?
Yes.
I'll close the vote. And that carries.
Thank you. The motion is carried. And we'll go back now, Madam Clerk, to 2022-61. And
I do need a mover and a seconder, please.
Councillor Brunet, would you please move this motion? Yes. 2022-61. Councillor McPherson will second the motion. 2022-61 is a bylaw to authorize the execution of a site plan agreement between the Corporation of the Town of Lincoln, Green Lane Joint Venture, Inc., together with any and all mortgagees that may be on title at the point of registration of the agreement. Madam Clerk, please open the vote.
The vote is open. And I'm closing that vote. And that carries 6-3.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The motion is carried. We'll move on now to item number 18 on the agenda, the motion to confirm proceedings of the council meeting. We will now confirm the proceedings of the council meeting. I have a motion moved by Councillor Timmers and seconded by Councillor Pachariva that leave be given to introduce bylaw number 2022-77, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held Monday, September the 19th, 2022, being read a first, second, and third time. That bylaw number 2022-77 be enacted and passed, and that the mayor and clerk sign and seal the said bylaw. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
The vote is open. Closing that. And that carries, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The motion is carried. Thank you very much, councillors, for your diligence in dealing with that lengthy list. And before we motion to adjourn the meeting, do members have any comments? Councillor Brunet.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. So through you, I'm wondering if I could just ask the clerk. So this evening, we proudly proclaimed these three proclamations: the Childhood Cancer, the Rail Safety Week, and the Ontario Cadets Week. With regards to the childhood cancer, I look at this as an ask that far goes beyond our boundaries of Lincoln or even the region of Niagara. So my question through you, Madam Mayor, is because this is really a Canada-wide proclamation that I look at in terms of childhood cancer, will we be passing this proclamation off to the federal MPP, the provincial MPP, and the Premier's office?
Thank you very much, Councillor Brunet. Madam Clerk?
If council so wishes, we can absolutely do that, and we can do that through our council correspondence and share it with the local area municipalities as well as the region as well.
Go ahead, Councillor Brunet.
Yeah, I've taken myself out of the queue, but.
Let's see, no, it's not going to work. I'd have to ask the other two members. Councillor Minikulik, if you wouldn't mind, just for a moment. Go ahead, Councillor Brunet.
Yeah, I certainly would appreciate that, what the clerk has just mentioned. I think it's appropriate. I think this is something that, you know, it's one thing to raise something within our municipality. It's an important initiative and a proclamation that we've done, but I think to take it with, you know, some teeth beyond our boundaries and make sure that this reaches coast to coast from the Premier's office, you know, and up, right up to the federal government. So I would appreciate that very much.
Thank you very much, and that would include the region of Niagara as well. Thank you very much. On the original listing, Councillor Pachariva, were you the next speaker, or was it Councillor Mikulik? You don't remember. All right, well, Councillor Mikulik has put his name forward, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much. No, I just, being our last meeting, and, you know, I just wanted to personally say thank you to my fellow ward councillor, Paul McPherson. I've learned a lot. I didn't know much about politics coming into this. He's been a strong voice, and I've felt like an apprentice under him, and he's always encouraged me to be strong with my voice as well, and I'm hoping to continue doing that if the people of Ward 3 are hopeful or are you know, satisfied with our performance that we've done. It's been a true pleasure and a privilege to have worked alongside Councillor McPherson, and it's been a great education period for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor. I'm now turning to Councillor Pachariva.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship, and I probably should have done it earlier with the council remarks, but I was thinking of something else. But I just wanted to thank the organizers of the various golf tournaments we've participated in. We had the pleasure of playing in the West Lincoln Memorial Hospital tournament last week for a terrific cause. And, you know, first thing in the morning, it looked like it wasn't going to happen. But then, you know, all of a sudden the skies parted and the sun came out, and it was a terrific day, because one often thinks, you know what, you're raising money for a worthwhile cause for charity, you know, whether it's hanging the rosary on the fence at night to say, please let it not rain, and it happened. But I'd be remiss too if I didn't say a special thanks to McNally House. They had their tournament on Thursday, and that's why I wasn't at the chamber event. We made a pledge as a family to support that, and my brother, my son Blair, and myself, and along with the lifelong friend Teddy Ross, played in it. We had a hell of a lot of laughs that day, and shed a little tear because my son, unbeknownst to us, tattooed on his arm the verse that I read at Dad's funeral about the dash. On, you know, in the synopsis, is not what you collected, it's what you do in that time. And then below it, he had a little bench with a silhouette of a man sitting there. And he said, that's for Grampy, because he never missed one of my games. And so that's what it's all about, is supporting something that you think is a worthwhile cause. Councillor Bernay volunteers at McNally House because of the care that they gave his dad. They have to raise $900,000 every year just to operate. So if it's a worthwhile cause to you, I'd remind you to get involved with their Hike for Hospice on Sunday, October 2nd. Means a lot to myself and to Councillor Bernay. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor. And I'll turn now to Councillor Timmers.
Thank you, Mary Easton. Well, it's hard to follow that, Councillor Pachariva. I just wanted to comment on the Heritage Committee and the work that happened this term. Very proud of the work that we were able to achieve through 2 years of COVID. And I've had some questions around the Heritage Conservation District, and we're in the beginning stages with many opportunity for community input and consultation coming. And tonight, I'm just really happy to see the 2 designations that are going to be taking place. And the Hickson Street property was a former Davis and Woodland family. It's of great historical value to our community, and the home was originally built in 1898. It's very interesting, our history. And the other property is on Lakeside Drive. And that turns out to be probably one of the oldest houses in all of Lincoln, which I find incredibly fascinating. The Conrad Tufford homestead. And they were one of the earliest settlers here, and they arrived in 1787. So a little bit of history there, and the reason why I love the Heritage Committee. But just very happy to see those 2 designations coming up, and thankful to the committee and to staff for making that happen. So thank you, Mary Easton, for allowing me that time.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Anyone else? Well, it is your last chance. This is the last council meeting of the 2018-2022 term, and I want to thank each and every one of you for everything that you've brought to the table. Unlike you, I don't think Councillor McPherson was quiet in the last term at all. I don't know what you're thinking of. But I mean that in the best of ways, Councillor. You always had a great deal to offer, and you all have, and it doesn't matter that we don't agree on absolutely everything. I think the level of exchange during this term has been significantly improved, because we don't all see things the same way. And I think that we've improved our transparency. I thought we were doing quite well. We've done even better. And so we'll continue to work along in that vein. I'm very, very pleased to have been acclaimed as your mayor, and I look forward to seeing who those lucky folk are that are going to be sitting at this table come October the 24th. Thank you very much. And so I call the meeting adjourned. I have a motion moved by Counselor Timmers, seconded by Counselor Pachariva. That leave be given to introduce bylaw number 2022-77, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held Monday, September 19th, being read a first, second, and third time. Bylaw number 2022-77 be enacted and passed, that the mayor and clerk sign and seal the said bylaw. Madam Clerk, would you please open the vote?
So we've done that, Madam Mayor. Now we're at adjournment, and I adjourn it at 8:01.
You
And-
didn't allow me to read that whole thing twice.
I did. I absolutely did. Just for fun, Madam Mayor.
You
at your last
absolutely
meeting.
did. All right, my apologies.
That's okay.
20:01, thank you very much.
And the vote is open?
Open the vote.
Yes. Yep, got it, yep. And I'm closing the vote, and that carries.
Thank you, Madam
Thank you.
Clerk, and the motion is carried. All right, if anyone has signed the Book of Condolences, please do that. And thanks very much to all the staff that are here this evening and whoever is on Zoom. We very much appreciate all of the support that you've provided us in this last year. And James, thank you very much for being here for all the